Outer Orange.
Hello, previous here. Welcome back. OuterOrange here. Today we're gonna go over Sabo, one of my favorite decks I've been recently enjoying out of the Three Brothers product set. Amazing product, by the way. Probably one of my favorite products that One Piece has released recently. So this is a Sabo deck. I already have recorded footage, so we're just gonna jump over and look at the recorded footage because I'm actually still learning the deck and it's really hard for me to record, talk, and play at the same time because I'm still learning it. I'm just one of those people where it takes me a little bit longer to figure out a deck. This is the build I was using, and I actually have two different builds. I have a build where instead of the King Kong Gatling, I'm running the one cost searcher. I was testing out this a little bit later, but in the earlier videos you'll see that I was actually running the searcher as well. I'm just kind of experimenting, trying out different ratios. There's also a Revolutionary Army version of this deck that I was kind of trying out. Actually, originally this one was called Sabo Yellow Revolutionary Army, and then I accidentally actually saved over the Revolutionary Army, so I actually lost it, but I'll just have to rebuild it again. But anyway, this is the one I'm trying out currently. Actually, my boyfriend's the one that introduced me to this deck. He's been really grinding this deck, he's really been enjoying it, and he's the one that got me into trying it. I really like it. This Luffy goes hard. So let's talk about some text real quick. So throw a Zoro in here. It's just kind of like a rush package because you can throw him down, put him back into life, and then swing. And if you guys don't know how Sabo works, Sabo basically says you can add one 3-cost or higher character with 70k or more power to the top of your life face up, and then give up to one of your characters plus 2k power until the start of your next turn. So by the way, that 2k power is insane as it stays there till on your opponent's turn 2. So if they're trying to knock down the power of it, it's a little bit harder for them to get removed the board. If they're not looking at cost and they're looking at power specifically, a little harder to retire, long story short. So you can basically put like a 2. If you have this guy on the board, you can make him an 8k, it's harder to wipe him. Or this guy becomes a 7k, it's harder to wipe him. Also harder to attack into it, so something kind of keep in mind. So just, or you can make this a 9k if he happens to stay on the board. So just a little funny thing you can do with them. Or her being an 8k as well, another hard body to get off the board. So it just makes it harder for them to try to swing into your units. So that's where that 2k does come up quite a bit. Now another thing to keep in mind, since you're trying to constantly put cards into life, you won't have a board too often, or you won't have like a really strong board, which surprisingly enough into some decks is actually really detrimental because they don't really do much. They can't really bomb deck anything, they can't really do much. Their deck kind of falls apart. I've noticed that a little bit with some of the decks I play. You can throw this guy down, put him to life, cycle him back again to your hand, throw him down, put him to life, cycle back again, over and over again. And blocker decks have really struggled into this because this will just keep going. Now, like I said, the biggest downside of this deck, you usually won't have 5 cards on the board at all times unless you're playing a deck that just doesn't touch your board at all. You'll notice you'll find yourself in the situation where you're using a lot of Dawn to constantly make your dudes beefy, and there's that. You also play into these cards that call themselves out, basically. So that's kind of how you have to play into keeping a board. You just can call them out, put them into your life, and then call them back out because they'll just come out for free. Or if you mulligan and you don't see them, you might just even trigger them off life. So that's also really good. You also run the brothers here, the Ace and the Leafy, because you can actually up your leader and make him a 7k or potentially a 9k. It's really hard to get the 9k, but you can definitely get a 7k to go off with this Luffy and this Ace right here. So something to keep in mind, you can use both of these to get these conditions to go off. Also, we have the searcher here just for searchers, and I'm running the King Kong Gatling right now because that extra 3k does come up to Dawn. To put 3k in something is big because again it reaches Sabo's threshold. And then Amaru is actually really good in this deck as well. All right, so here I'm going into a game. We're facing Kairos. I had never played this deck ever in my life, so I had no idea what I was facing. It's a black yellow deck. Also, really good color combination. You got the yellow and the black combination of triggers along with black cards. The black cards are insane. So here I go. I kept my mulligan. We're just doing a little bit of a searching here and just kind of passing it over. Usually when I go first, I actually just slap 3 down and swing because there's really no real reason to call a card unless it's like a rush card. So typically I usually think it through to go, I don't really want to call anything. Sometimes I'll call a Luffy out as bait, but I don't really actually do anything with it. But because of the red Luffy is like 2k counter, and like I don't know, it's just sometimes really hard to decide what to play. So usually what I do is I slap 3 down and swing. It usually feels better because you don't mind taking life because you're gonna put it back in anyway. So you're okay with like, you're forcing their leader to swing into you. Which is usually what happens, and usually you take the life, and then on your 5 Dawn turn you can kind of start setting up for some cards. This deck has very weird curve controls, but usually I take a resolve. Sometimes I did block it here actually. I guess I was worried about the 4 Dawn, whatever they're gonna call out. They call it the Barcelona pass, and I'm like, all right, I have a lot of Dawn to work with here. By the way, I had a lot of plays. I think I thought through this quite a bit because I could have called the Luffy, I could call the Kiko, but I decided to swing in for the 6, just especially since it goes over the Barcelona threshold, which makes it easier to deal with that. And then I call the Kiko Nojo and pass. Now I think an interesting play here that happens is I think he tries to KO the Kiko Nojo, and I think he forgot to read what the card effect says. She does grant you a life on KO, so something to keep in mind. You gotta be careful with that card. All right, so here he calls the brand new, calling the Hina, and basically trying to remove the Kiko. and which he does, but then she grants me a life. So I'm just like, all right, I'm a 5 leader. I'm a 5 life leader now. We're living. Now, part of it could be that they just don't know how to play into Sabo, and it's okay because I didn't know what the heck I was doing anyway. So we're both on the same playing field here. So anyways, now I'm at 7 Dawn. I have a couple options here. I can throw down the Luffy and then swing with him with a Dawn on him, and then also Dawn up the Sabo and then send him to life, which I'm pretty sure is what I end up doing. But I don't remember exactly, because again, like, we're in a weird situation where calling out small buys doesn't make sense because they're going to get removed, and then I can use those as counter, and then calling the aces makes sense because I'm still at 4 life. So honestly, playing the Luffy's was like the best call of action, which is exactly what I do here. I just deploy the Luffy, slap a Dawn on the boy, and then we're going in. Again, we want to make a 7k threshold here because of the Sabo. So that's basically what we're gonna do here. We're gonna swing for 7, which also is a very annoying number to constantly keep blocking. And then we could put the Dawn on the Sabo and then put the Luffy into life and basically just go with it, which is what we end up doing. So here I go putting him into life and then choosing no targets and swinging for 6. And notice that we're constantly swinging over the burst of Barcelino, which is pretty funny, but it gives him access to actually block with the Barcelino, so that's also really good. But he actually gave it up. He was like, I don't want this card anymore. So there we are, back at 5 life. I went ahead and sped it up a little bit just because the guy takes a while to think, which makes sense. So he'll go swing in. I choose to take it. I get I get my Luffy, obviously. I take that as well because I'm not really in any danger of anything. I don't really mind taking damage here. I have quite a bit to work with, so it's not the end of the world. But anyway, so he's thinking through what the next shot here. He does have quite a bit of Dawn to work with now. I don't think he's quite at 8 yet, but obviously this is a black deck, so they're going to be running Gecko Moira. But instead we're going for the Sabo, which is the draw 2, discard 2, along with having the resist. I don't really care because nothing my deck says touch your board, so he just swings in. I just block it with one of my 2k counters and back to me. Now I have so many Luffys, I think I just straight up just go, okay, well, I don't really have anything else to do. I can just go ahead and call the Luffy and just do what I did last game again. That's exactly what I do. I slap 2 Dawn on him just to make him really annoying to block, and he is unblockable, so you have to basically eat this, and that's exactly what I do. Put a Dawn up on the Sabo, put 2 Dawn down this time since I have more Dawn to work with, and we're gonna probably send the Luffy to life and just do it all over again. I think this is a game where I literally just loop Luffy's, actually, now that I think about it, which is a strat, by the way. You could do that. So we're swinging for 7. They can choose to block that with the Sabo, and that's basically what's going to happen here, and just to protect themselves. But to keep in mind, we're at 4 life and they're at 1, and they are slowly building board, which is kind of what I started to get scared of as I was playing this matchup. I was like, man, like, if they keep building board, they'll eventually outscale me, especially if the Gecko Moira start coming out. However, they're at 1. I have time, and I'm gonna keep looping the same life, so I have basically an extra life to work with the entire game, which is really cool. But as I'm looking through, I was like, man, we got to start thinking about stuff, and I really wish I kind of took life a little bit earlier, just so I could throw it on the ace more often. But I'm not gonna lie, with the amount of blockers this guy kept calling out, it actually made more sense to keep looping the Luffy here. So here I go taking my Luffy. Now I still have my 2 Luffys in circulation. Little did they know I have 2 Luffys. They think I have 1 this whole time, by the way. But anyway, so here they are dropping the Gecko. Gecko's gonna bring out basically Rebecca. Rebecca's gonna bring out some other good card, whatever they choose to. They went for the Viola. Viola actually lets them recycle my life there. They can reorder life, which I think is exactly what they do. Yeah, but that's okay. We're okay with that life reordering because I don't think we care. We never actually see that life because we keep playing with 4 lives. So here we go. I think I thought this through. There's 4 blockers on the board, so I'm like, all right, do I really just attach Dawn and swing? And that's exactly what I do. I just attach Dawn and swing. I was like, what else am I supposed to do, you know? So he goes ahead and goes to 0 life here. I Dawn up the Sabo again, recycling the Luffy back in, and I'm gonna basically go for 6. Still hitting over the threshold of these 6k blockers, but they can block it like with a bunch of blockers. They have a bunch of options here and basically pass it back to me. Now, again, they're at 10 Dawn now. They have 3 blockers on the board. In my opinion, when I was looking at this game, I was like, I think I'm in trouble. Like if they start like chipping at my life here, I'm eventually going to start losing, right? So my thought was like, I'm not in a good position and I have no board. Meanwhile, they're building a board. If they drop like another Gecko or something, I'm in trouble. You know, those Geckos are going to scale me, but they're at 0 life. So they have to keep eating this insanely big Luffy or else. Now here is the Viola. Another Viola, a 4th blocker comes down, and they put the Luffy to the bottom. And I was like, oh my, they think that I don't have another Luffy. So basically here it's like, all right, we have 4 blockers on the board. Probably drop into the Gecko Moira here or whatever else they can drop at this point, and they're fine. I'm taking the life because I don't really care. And I think I even take the gecko here because the gecko's gonna come down too. And I think they drop another gecko on top of that. They have plenty of board presence. Oh, actually, they drop a 5th blocker. What am I supposed to do? I guess I'll drop another Luffy. Like, what else am I gonna do? It's a board like this. So they just scoop here, which I thought was really freaking funny. And look at that life, by the way. Look at those Satoris. That life was insane. I don't think there's anything I could have done to fix that life. Like, that life is so good. If I kept taking that life, I actually probably would have won the game sooner because it would have had insane board presence. But yeah, I'm gonna pause that real quick just so we can take a look at that real quick. But just basically, like, they did not have the counter to deal with my Luffy, actually. Like, even with 4 blockers. I don't know why I was looking at Gecko as a blocker, but with the 4 blockers on the board and everything, I think they assumed I just didn't have a second Luffy, and I did. And they were just gonna try and basically just go like poke. But I don't know why honestly they should have just not dropped this. But yeah, the Luffy was definitely a way to answer it, because this is 10 Don and they had 1, 2, 3k counters, so there's nothing they could have done to deal with this. So basically, long story short, really funny game. All right, so here's another game now into Red Purple Law. Now, I was kind of questioning how this is gonna go. I feel like late game I win, but this deck doesn't really have any blockers, I think that, so playing into the Luffy doesn't really matter. However, we can play into basically everything else. And again, I go for the 3 Don swing, especially into Red Purple Law. You actually want to have high numbers, so you actually don't really care. We have a Beggy here. We don't trigger because there's no point. What we're gonna do, put on the Gordon. Basically pass it over here. I think I just go for the Rush Zoro, because honestly, like I said, the Luffy doesn't really matter in this matchup. We mainly care about going to 2 life and actually cycling the ace here. And actually, I use the Nami as well because the Nami is really good. So here I go, basically putting the Zoro. Now, what I actually could have done is I actually could have put the Dawn, I believe, on the Zoro. I think I misplayed here a little bit. I could have done it a little bit better, but it's okay. I think I still need a Dawn on my Sabo, so actually might have mattered. But anyway, long story short, we're just going for the rush play because why not? Even if they bomb deck their stuff, we don't really care because we already got our what we need out of the cards. So here they go playing for the. They're gonna deck my Nami, call their own card. That's fine. This deck's a little bit scarier just because they can kind of have a really quick board presence, but I just don't really care. I'm gonna go ahead and trash the cards I don't need. Into this matchup, I didn't really care for I guess I didn't care for the ace. I honestly should have probably trashed the Luffy, but it's fine. Anyway, so here we have Satori. Satori can go do some work because Satori's great. I love Satori so much. And that we're at 2 life now, so we can actually play for the ace, which is exactly what I do here. We're gonna drop the ace. He has a 7 already, so we can put him into life. So we're gonna go ahead and swing for 7. Nice. They're gonna block. That's fine. And then basically we can I choose to search. I picked up the Luffy. I think that was my only option though. So here we go, activating the Sabo effect to send the ace to life, give 2k to our dude. I should have put the 2k on the Satori, and that is definitely a misplay on my part. I didn't think about it because I forgot that the 2k is continuous till the following turn. Nice. My thought was like, oh, it's 2k for now, I'm not doing anything with it anyway, but I definitely should have dropped down the Satori. That would have helped me a lot because see that swing there, that swing would have been hard, but also because Red Purple Law is minus his power, it would have made it harder for this to drop the Satori. Like basically the Satori probably would have lived and I would have had an extra card on the board. But notice here there's a lot of pressure. I end up having to take it all because I don't have a choice, and this does get a little scary here. I'm like, oh my god, that's a big board, and basically they're swinging here, and I definitely eat that going to 1, and that 1 is really scary. Now keep in mind they only have 3 cards in hand, they have 2 life. I can out their board here, which is basically what we're going to go for. We're going to drop the ace and just play into the ace here because we have nothing else to really do. I think I do swing at life, which probably was not the smartest thing for the first attack, but every attack after that I definitely go into the units here because there's just no reason to go at life. I don't know why I chose to go life here. Like I said, still reading the deck, but even just as like general knowledge, I definitely should have swung into the units, especially since it would have knocked down three units off the board. But they still blocked, which was good for me. I think that's actually why the reason I was like, all right, well, since they have 1 card in here, there's no reason to swing into life. I think this is what I realized that. And then here I go. This is the ace play where I can make myself a 7k, which is very useful here. And then now I'm like, all right, maybe I should be swinging to the units, which is definitely what I do here. I'm debating where to Dawn up basically, but here we go, swing to 7. They can't block it. I know they can't block it. There's nothing they can do about that, so they just have to eat it. I'm a 7k base now, so they do have to swing in very specific intervals to get there, which they do. And that's basically, I believe this is game actually. As I said, I misplayed that. Losing a Satori costed me the game, which is very unfortunate because basically they could just Dawn up here and swing and just win. Oh yeah, I forgot I triggered that. I totally forgot about the Amaru. I'm not gonna lie. Because here I basically live off of it. I live off of the, oh my god, there's another Becky, but there's no reason to play it. That's insane. I totally forgot about that. I forgot that that's what happened. I don't remember if I win game here because of this. Oh, right, because I got the Becky. I just had enough to block. Sorry, I'm forgetting myself what I did. So we actually, I think we have game here, if I remember correctly. Because here I was thinking I have the Rush Luffy and I have the Rush Ace. Either way, I have a Rush card. The Luffy is a 6 and the Ace is a 7. So they're both the same cost, might as well call the Ace, right? So I basically call the Ace here and swing in with an 8 and just to close it out real fast. And then I swing in with the 9, and unless they have 6k counter, they're basically dead here. And that's how we win. I actually thought I lost that game, but we actually took it. Never mind. We took that game there. Now there's one more I want to show you guys with the red event. So we're gonna go ahead and swap over to that real quick. All right, so here we have a game into NL. This is a very interesting game as well. I'm using the red events now, and I think I was really debating on how I want to keep this very interesting hand. I think I'm gonna look at it. Oh no, I kept it. Wow, I'm wild. I am a wild human being. I guess it's just, this is what happens when I play card games at 2 a.m. because that's about the time I was playing this. But here we have the Hiyori coming down. So this NL player just kind of goes wild with this with these Hioris are on. But we have a decent setup. We definitely have a lot of good bodies to work with, and we can also send bodies to life. And by the way, like I said, I am playing with the event here, but I do my usual 3-down swing, because like I said, there's just no reason early on to call a board anyway. And I'm usually very fearful of a lot of Namis and stuff like that just nuking my board, so I usually play into the Namis, or I usually try to play around the Namis, especially since I believe the NL player stacked here. So because they stacked, I was like, all right, I really want to deal with that, so there's no reason for me to call a body, so I just swung. So I took this nice little 2k counter for us, very, very useful. Another Hiyori, so another setup for whatever it is that they decide to put there. I usually am I'm mindful, I'm like, that's probably a Nami. Here I am deciding I had a lot of different options to go for. I can call the Kiku, I can go for the Satori. I had quite a bit of options. I think I start off with just swinging 5 or 6 and just kind of going from there. Because again, like, the life is stacked, so there's no real reason for me to try to play into the stacked life. Or the best way to put it is, if I call a body and swing, there's just, I'm basically increasing the odds of me just getting Onami'd. So there's just no reason for that. So they take the life. They did have something there, so I don't know what, but it's the Charlotte. I hate that card. The cracker. It's the cracker card, the cracker barrel card. So here I deploy. I believe I go for the Satori. The Satori, even though it is a 2k counter. Drop the Satori and pass. Now what's scary here is that cracker. That cracker is that cracker has the ability to deal me 2 damage. And yeah, we don't want to take that. Now, the crazy part here is we do have the Onamis to potentially banish it, and that makes it way more brutal to be taking that cracker. So something to kind of keep in mind, we definitely want that thing to go. So here he is putting all the Dawn on that bad boy right there and dropping the banish. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I actually blocked this. I'm pretty sure I have the two Ks to block it, so I definitely go for it. I did not want to lose 2 potential cards off of that. It's just not worth it. So I chose, even though I did have to give up 3, but because I'm playing with my life so much, I chose to block it. Maybe it wasn't the smartest decision, but that was 2 cards that could potentially cycle with life. And I don't know why, but I also didn't want to go down to 1 life that fast, so I chose to just play around now. Now keep in mind, we're both at the same life interval, so I can actually swing into that dude, which is exactly what we're going to go for here. We're going to try and get that cracker barrel off the board. And I think that's the smartest route here, because like I said, our board presence is nowhere near as powerful as some of these other decks. So we definitely have to, if there's something on the board that's got to go, we got to figure out a way how to get it off. So that's why I go here. I go for the 6k. It's a little awkward. I needed to go for it. So that's what we go for here. I probably could have deployed the Nami. Probably could have played this out a little bit differently, but it's cool. I guess I really want the Kiko in life, and I think that's what I go for here. So we're gonna go ahead and Dawn up, using Sabo's effect to send the Kiko to life, and then 2k the Satori. I would hope that that's exactly what I do here. I do 2k the Satori. Okay, sweet. And then I swing it for the 6. So they have the Shirahoshi, so they get to draw 3, discard 2. Also very good card. Doesn't do much else, but hey, she's there. It's a body. So back to them. They dropped the cracker, which was interesting that they dropped that, because they actually could have popped that bad boy down. Here they go for the banish again. These banish cards, man. I hate these banish cards so much. But obviously stacking our boy here. I think I had to give this one up. But luckily enough, it was only one. It was just one. It wasn't, you know, double damage or anything like that like Yamato likes to do. So I think I was like, all right, well, I can handle this one. It's okay. That's exactly what I do here. So here we have another Hirori, by the way. By the way, so my brain was like, okay, that's a lot of 2K counters out of deck, by the way. Like, that's a lot of 2K counters they dropped. So my brain was like, that's a lot of, there's probably a lot of fake cards in that top thought, in that five card hand. And I definitely start realizing that as I'm playing the game. Even though they have this really crazy board presence, a lot of these are zeros. And that's fine for me because I can just play the game. So that's exactly what I do. I'm debating how I want to approach this with my Dawn interval. I think here I deploy the Luffy, potentially. Actually, I go for the Beggy. They have this big board presence. I don't know why I chose to go for the Beggy, but I did. So here I go upping the Beggy, just because I guess I just really want to play into the Beggy. I don't know. I want him to be in life, just I guess to punish them and try to see if they try to do anything about it. So I go here and stack the Satori again. And then we're probably gonna put the Beggy into life, I assume. I assume that's what the plan going forward. First, we just want to swing. So here we go. Sending our Beggy.
Nice.
Choosing. Ah, I see. I target that just to get it nice and beefy. So basically, I just made good numbers and I just won. Oh, they got the Kiko. That's fine. We don't care about the Kiko. Oh, and right, they're setting up for NL life. That's fine. All right, and that passed through. Now they are at 0, keep in mind, so they have to either find a way to gain themselves a life, or they have to basically play at 0. And playing at 0 as an L is pretty scary, but they do have ways to get life back. There's Yamato. There's a couple cards. So they have to keep that in mind. So here we are, our board, we have the Beggy active. So if they drop a big body, that's actually why I played the Beggy, because my thought was like they either drop Enel or Yamato here, and I'm in really bad shape, right? But I can also just take the Beggy and just make the leader not attack anymore, because those 0 costs, they have to be buffed up to basically be able to play around it. So here I go triggering that, so that way that just can't attack anymore. Which is fine. It's just one less attack I have to worry about. And they have a lot of Dawn. They can drop a big body and pass, which is basically what I would be doing if I was in their situation, because these 0 costs that they have on the board, they ain't doing much. They do much. You need a Katakuri here, you need a Yamato, you just need better cards. So they drop the Katakuri here, basically sending one of their cards into life, which is good for them because they can trigger them. I believe they send the Nami. They do send the Nami there, which is something I have to play around now. Now, I did a really weird play here. I kind of set it up badly. If I had set up correctly, I would have actually had like a really good play. My issue was I needed a way to get the rest of Dawns to work off a Nami, so I had to deploy something. But I knew the O Nami was in life, so something on my board was getting KO'd. And that was what I did this thing where I basically called my whole board first before trying to swing with something. I definitely should have swung with something first. But what I was trying to do is I was trying to play into the Luffy. I was trying to basically get my base up to a 7K base to make it harder for them to deal with my leader, and then go for game next turn. Now the problem here was that because I set this all up first, is that Onami basically will trigger, but he has to make a choice. His choice is he basically kills the Luffy so I don't get the 2K stack, or he kills the Satori so I lose an attack. And that's the choice I had to force the opponent basically to make. But what I could have done is I could have just swung with the Satori, they would have popped the Nami, and I would have just had to just accept that I would have lost the Dawn, and I still could have gotten the 7K. I could have played this out better. The setup was weird, but basically the setup was to try and get the 2-cost Luffy to bounce off of my rush Luffy. That way I could get the 2K on my side and be a 7K base. And I definitely didn't play it into it correctly. And then I realized as I did it, I was like, no matter how I swing here, I'm screwed. So I chose to just swing with the bigger body first, which was the Luffy, because I'm gonna lose one of the other dudes anyway. So I swing in here for the 8. Sorry, I had to explain all that. I just did I did a really weird play for something that was like a lot more simple. I should have swung first and then started doing all this basically. But the Onami was annoying. If the Onami wasn't there, we would have had a better time. But it's okay. I also knew the NL player was going to basically put a life in, so something came out. So they did decide to drop the Luffy, which is fine, because now I can swing with the Satori. I did lose my Luffy, but that's okay. I can still swing with the Satori. I can still play the game. I wasn't really too mad about this play. I was like, all right, that's fine, because we can still get our Luffy into life. We're still at 3 life. We still have a leader swinging. We had a lot to work with here, so I wasn't too mad. So they choose to take the life here. I go ahead and Sabo effect here to put the Luffy back in, and I basically am gonna put the I think I was debating which I had the Luffy in hand already, so my thought was like, what would make more sense, the 2K counter to have 2K in my hand, or the Luffy? And I actually ended up picking the Luffy. I don't know if that goes against me here. I don't remember how this game ends, but luckily enough for us, he's at 0 life again. So they have to basically they have to close out here. If they don't close out here, I win. Now, the thing is, if they play the Dawn correctly, they do have game. I don't know if they're aware that they have game, but they do have game here. I think had I picked up the Satori into life, I probably would have been in a better position because that would have been 2k counter could have worked here, and I do believe they close out here. Had I done the Satori, I actually think I would have been fine.
Nice.
But it also depends how they would have done. But because I put the Leafy in life, I kind of screwed myself. Which is a misplay on my end. But hey, that's why I'm learning the deck. That's why I'm playing the deck. That's why we're watching this gameplay together, so we can learn together. But they do think about it for a little bit here, what they can do, how they can set up, and they definitely like from my perspective, they have game. They have the Katakuri, they got the Nami, they have the Kiko, they have basically four attacks. Now, like I said, if I had just had the Satori, I could have blocked that. I could have blocked one of them at least, because basically they're gonna drop Dawn up on the everything. Now, keep in mind, if they put the 5 on the Hiyori, they probably had game. But again, this is another attack that I could have blocked if I had a Satori. So that was where I misplayed here. I definitely think if I had just properly blocked, I probably had game. But it's okay. We live and learn. That's the point. And that, gosh, those counters off life are very those are very counterless lives. I basically set up on the cat and they finish off there. I'm gonna stop it there. I just want to kind of show you guys some gameplay of Sabo, because Sabo isn't a very played deck. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it was informative in some way, shape, or form. Just a lot of video footage and me just talking over my own footage, right? So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's not Zoro for once, so yay. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna head out here. Peace out. Hope you guys enjoyed the footage. I'll have more coming. I'll see you guys in a future video. Bye.
That's nice.